Okay, welcome everybody. This is Bonnie Goldberg, and I am going to be facilitating this forum. The first one is for president of our union. We do have interpreters going, and I will ask that for each candidate to keep saying your name when it's your turn to talk so that we can keep clear about who is speaking and when. So we are going to start with each candidate having a two minutes to just say whatever you'd like to say. And we're going to do this. The order is going to be first. Oh, and we have Ali Bodwin, Miranda Ramsey, and Laura Walden. Okay, and that's the order in which we're going to begin. So, Ali, take it away.
Perfect. Hi, everyone. My name is Ollie Bodwin. I use he, him pronouns. I've been a adjunct professor at PCC in the Business and Entrepreneurship Department for about 4 years. For the most of my career, I've worked in the private sector and consulted in the nonprofit sector. So uh, I've sort of spent most of my world working for big companies and helping them sort of figure out strategies and optimizing. Um, I'm really interested in this union president. One of the things that's really impressed with is how the organization was striking and organizing, and it was so amazing. And so I was sort of thinking about my next steps in my career, and I was thinking that this would be such a great organization to help work with and lead and sort of build the next generation. My background has been in negotiations, finance, and strategy. And I think looking at what the organization has done in the last few months and years, like I can really bring some really interesting things that I've seen work in other organizations to make this organization really good. My style of leadership is servant leader, so I'm really focused on working with all levels of the organization to figure out people who are on the bottom and the top and the middle, and everyone's input's really valuable to me. That has been sort of a successful thing in my career, is working with people across all levels, laterally and vertically, because we come with really good solutions when we sort of work together. One of the other things that I was sort of thinking about as well is with my business and finance background, I know that there is some tension with the president, with the college, and so I might be a good candidate to help sort of mend that. And I sort of speak the language they speak as well, and so we could find a lot of sort of unique solutions where everyone wins. Some of the stuff, thank you. Some of the stuff I've sort of always put my hand on is there are solutions where everyone can win and we can all do well better. And that's very much my MO.
Thank you. Miranda, you're next.
Yeah, hi, this is Miranda Ramsey. I'm part-time math faculty at Southeast Campus. I earned degrees in economics and mathematics at Portland State University, but that journey began here at PCC, getting transfer credits over 10 years ago. I'm really proud to be an instructor here now. I'm really proud to be a part of this union during that strike, and I'm really glad to be able to participate in union leadership right now. Many of you might have met me or heard of me through street karaoke during the pickets. I kind of saw a need to bring something high energy and a way for people to express themselves in order to win the war of attrition that the strike was against a really stubborn administration. And now, after the strike, I see the energy diminishing. The Discord is quiet, the group chats died down, and we're all back to work and recovering. I think if we're going to build sustainable energy toward our labor movement, if we're going to be strike ready again when we need to be in the future, we need to spend the next year turning inward, connecting with each other, and deepening our roots. So I have some goals as president to lead a recruitment drive with the organizing committee to expand our membership, to empower the steward networks to maintain an active and accessible presence in every department in person, and expand our communications to include all PCC employees, not just FFAP, to strengthen the connections between part-time, full-time, and APs, and altogether build a union culture at this college that goes beyond our relationship to our employer and is a relationship with ourselves and each other. If you've had the question, how do we inspire people to get involved with the union? Well, I was getting people to sing karaoke stone cold sober on a weekday morning. So I will leave it at that. Thank you.
This is Bonnie. Thank you, Miranda. Laura, take us home with this.
Hey everyone, I'm Laura Wadlin. I'm part-time faculty in ESOL at Rock Creek, and I've worked at PCC for 10 years. Our union has been able to achieve things we didn't even believe were possible, and my leadership has been at the center of that. I started creating a vibrant contract action team 4 years ago, and I got us strike ready for the past two bargaining cycles when we had never seriously considered striking before. I devised a strategic timeline and came up with creative organizing tactics. And I held the bargaining team to key deadlines and kept us from settling for crumbs. I even led a campaign to get our abusive dean in ESOL fired, and I've helped train other members how to stand up for ourselves. As our strike committee co-chair this year, I coordinated our picket lines and events and brought dozens of new members into union activity. I'd be honored for you to empower me to take FFAP to the next level and lead with a socialist vision for our workplace. Let's double down on the solidarity we built with classified workers, and let's get casual workers unionized. Let's build a culture of democracy within our departments so that we can include even more workers in the process of remaking PCC from the bottom up. Let's build an insurgent opposition to not just the PCC board, but the entire corporate political establishment that threatens public education. Most important, let's prepare with other unions to strike across institutions and demand that Oregon tax the rich to fully fund education.
Thank you, Laura. Okay, I'm going to put the first question in and read it out loud. And the order for this will be Miranda, Laura, and then Allie. What is the most important aspect of being a union leader? And this is a 1-minute answer.
Yeah, this is Miranda Ramsey. I'm glad to see this question. I've been thinking a lot about what leadership means to me. And I would say that leadership is about being able to give a structure and uh, to facilitate people who all have a similar goal in mind to be able to line up and synchronize and achieve that goal together. It's not really about my own personal uh, achievements within the union, but it's about making sure that everyone in the union is able to get what they want to get done. The I think I was in a conversation in a meeting last week where somebody was talking about wanting guidance from leaders during the strike, but they were too busy doing what they were doing. And I thought that was strange because to me, the leading is the guidance that the people need. And just one part of the big community project that we're all a part of. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Laura, you're next.
I really believe that democracy is power, and that means that we can achieve big things as a union when our members feel agency in their own lives, in their workplace, and in our union. And as a leader, our role in that is to help people find their own way of contributing and to expand people's imaginations. You know, being a worker is very demoralizing sometimes, especially at PCC. And union leaders need to give people feeling of hope and optimism, and also a plan to win these big things that we normally don't allow ourselves to believe are possible. And we do that by training people to take ownership over our union and over our workplace, ways of doing collective action, ways of standing up to mismanagement together, because unionism is about the collective, and most people don't have experience with that. So we need to show people how to do that and how it can win.
Thank you. Ali, take us away.
Sure, this is Ollie Bodwin talking. So, most important aspect of leadership is really being able to look at the future and see where the organization's going and the membership. And so, it's often for me, it's listening to our members and seeing what the future looks like and executing the plan to get there. today, as we look into the future, what the union needed 10, 20 years ago and what the union's going to need 20 years from now has really changed. There's a lot of battle around education in the country and funding and technologies coming into place. And so that union leader really needs to see the vision of how are we connected to colleges and what is membership going to need in the next 5 to 10 years and really execute and deliver that. I think that is sort of the most important part is taking the vision and making it happen.
Okay, thank you very much. We're going to go on to the next question. This is also a 1 minute only question, and the order is going to be Laura, Ali, and Miranda. And the question is, why do you want to be president of our union?
I want to be president because our union is so awesome. And I believe that we can be the leaders in the state of Oregon that can change public education. Oregon, since I was a kid, has failed at funding public education. We have so many crises in society. And I believe that worker power is the solution to making the world better for once instead of just passively watching it get worse. And I really want to bring more people into that optimism of a better future.
Thank you, Laura. Ali, you're next.
Yeah, this is Ali Bodwin speaking. So one of the big drivers for me in becoming president is seeing, since my life of how unions have really benefited folks and how there's been such a big challenge in them growing. I think being this unit being a great example that could reflect across the West Coast and the country of why unions are really valuable. And I think having really good talent come in and invest in organizations to be bigger, better, and stronger, because we're facing big administrations and big companies that are anti-union. And so a big part of me is being that person to say, let's level the battleground and make sure that unions are really strong and they have the right vision and future to make that happen. And so for me, being president is to sort of take my skill and experience and execute on that and say, what could our union look like in 5 years? And could we absorb and add another union? Or could we increase membership and really be a force across Oregon, the West Coast, and nationally?
Thank you. Miranda, take us away for this one.
Yeah, this is Miranda Ramsey. I want to be president because president has the unique role and support of being a part of every committee in the union and a part of every action that the union gets to take part in. I believe that I have the skills to help all of our committees synchronize toward our goals. And as a powerful voice for the union, speaking for the membership at all of those committees and ensuring that we are all working together for the common goal of the membership. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, then we're back to the order being Ali, Miranda, and then Laura. And the question is, as president, you will supervise FFAP paid staff. What is the most important thing you've learned about yourself as a supervisor? Ali starts.
Sure. Hi, this is Ali Bodwin. So the biggest thing I've learned is I used to think that you would come up with the direction and then figure out the path. You come up with the vision, you figure out the path. But what I've learned is some of the best leadership is you figure out the talent and the people you have, and that guides you to that decision. And so we sort of call it like figure out who's on the bus, and that gets you the destination. And so my leadership in that servant style is really working with folks of understanding what are their skill sets, what are they good at, what are they not good at, what can I help them improve on, and how do I sort of evolve them, and that consequently benefits the union as well. And so supervising is sort of a very personal thing where you really have to understand people and understand how to be really gentle and delicate, but also really inspire them to do things that they never thought they could do.
Thank you, Miranda. And this is a 1 minute. I think you know that, but yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. This is Miranda Ramsey. I got the opportunity, I'm really proud of this. I got the opportunity to lead the painting of the Arleta Triangle. If you drive by on Southeast Woodstock and 72nd and see that plaza, On the day that we painted that, I was brought in by Symbiop to work with Southeast Uplift and PBOT to help paint that. In that project, I brought the paint, I brought the plans, and the people showed up from the neighborhood, and I supervised them to make sure that the painting happened. And what I learned from that was how important it was for me to trust the people who are doing the job to get it done. I needed to get to put away my own attachment to how the painting looked and making sure that all of the lines were perfect and the plan was followed exactly. That all of these people were here to work together, and my role was to ensure that they were working together, that conflicts were managed, and to get out of their way so that they could do a good job.
Thank you. Laura.
Supervising staff in unions can be quite different than in other workplaces. Most workplaces in the world are extremely authoritarian. Our bosses don't really have any right to tell us what to do. Most of them don't know much about our jobs. In the union world, members need to be in control, but that's really difficult for staff because you essentially have in FFAP 1,600 bosses. And so I think the role of the president in being a supervisor of union staff is to channel the will of members, facilitate the democracy of membership so that staff have clear guidance about our political priorities and our organizing priorities so that they can be trusted to go forth and do what the members need and what the members have decided.
Okay, thank you, everybody. We are going to the very final 1 minute question. Then you'll have a whole 2 minutes to answer the rest of them. And the order will be Miranda, Laura, and then Ali. If you have to choose, what is the most pressing issue for our union right now and why?
I believe the most pressing issue for our union is part-time pay equity and equity in general. I say that as a part-time employee, but also having spoken with a lot of my colleagues, part-time, full-time, and APs, and kind of hearing what we have to say there. During the strike, there was a huge wedge that the administration tried to drive between us, between part-time, full-time, and APs. Part-times are the most financially vulnerable and also the most incapable of participating in the union because of our split between multiple jobs and multiple responsibilities outside of work in order to get by. And being able to bridge the gap in pay equity for part-time so that we can fully participate in the union and also so that that wedge cannot be driven in between us by administration is the most important issue for us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Laura.
The biggest issue, I think, in both our workplace and society at large is austerity and corporate control over nearly every aspect of our lives. It is the underlying reason for so many of the problems we experience daily as workers. When PCC puts money into management salaries or into initiatives that don't help anybody instead of into hiring the appropriate amount of advisors, making part-timers full-time, resourcing students in the ways that they need. When the state of Oregon decides maybe we should be giving tax breaks to data centers instead of funding education. That is all part of austerity. And that is going to continue to get worse and worse and worse unless the labor movement bands together and says enough is enough. We need our economy to be designed for all workers, for the benefit of everyone, not for just the ultra rich.
Okay, thank you. Is that everybody?
Oh, I have to go.
Sorry, go right ahead, Ali.
Okay. This is Ollie Bodwin. Biggest issue, I think there's two. One is sort of mending the relationship with the college administration. I think that there's a space for us to co-create solutions. As I sort of think about what the possibilities are, is we can find a favorable place where we win and everyone benefits as well. The other thing is sort of bringing on more members. There are a lot of voices that are not heard, that aren't a part of the membership. We totally want their feedback, but we would love to have more members join so that we're a bigger force and that when we come to the table, it is, when it's striking, it's the whole organization. And so I think the more people we have, the more collective strength we'd have. So one, how do we work with the college administration to figure out what solutions benefit everyone? And how do we get more members to join so that their voices could be heard and then we get the next generation of solutions?
Thank you, everybody. Okay, we're coming down the stretch here, and now we have actually 2 whole minutes to answer this question, and it's going to start with Laura, and then Ali, and then Miranda. What will you do when there is pushback or disagreement with your goals or the way you want to handle something, both when you're in the majority and when you're in the minority? And that's going to start with Miranda.
Laura, right?
Sorry, Bonnie, you're on mute.
I'm sorry. Yes, Laura, you're first. I apologize.
Thanks. This is Laura speaking. Well, this exact situation has happened many times. I've been in leadership in our union since 2021, and I've been on both the majority and the minority side. I've been a tiny minority, in fact, for much of my time in leadership until we reformed FFAP. And the way for us to go forward is to have an honest conversation about what our goals are and what we think is best for our union, and have faith that over time, if our ideas are compelling, that we can prevail. Any particular vote is not the last conversation on anything. Usually it's actually the first conversation. And so I would do in the future what I've done before, which is trust that we all want our union to be strong and we all want uh, our workplace to be more democratic and better for students. And over time, we will experiment together on the things we think are best, and we'll learn from those things. I've been wrong many times, both in the majority and the minority, and having the close relationships with people through working together is what allows us to move forward. If we approach every single vote or conversation as like a battle with each other, that I think erodes relationships. But we have to remember we're going to be, I mean, at least I hope to be working here at PCC for maybe the rest of my life. And I certainly want to be in our union for all that time. So every conversation is a conversation that I will remember with that person in our relationship for the next 5, 10, 20 years. And I just really believe that an honest conversation about where we stand, even if it's different, is okay. And sometimes that means we'll need to do some mending afterwards, but we do what we need to do to maintain the relationship and move forward.
Thank you. Ali.
Great. This is Ali Bodwin. Disagreements have always been I always enjoy them. I think they come with a really great sense of honesty. And when I always sort of thought about disagreements, they are just a different path to getting to that success point. And you're sort of making decisions around what path might get you there faster. Um, One of the things that's been really good with my background is I've been in a lot of organizations where we have had disagreement against majority and minority, and we sort of found a common solution that works for what the organization's vision is. And I think when I ground and center people in that what the vision is, um, I can be convinced and folks can be convinced because if we're rooted in what the vision and the mission is, how we get there is just a different question and a different solution. And I think having disagreement and pushback is really good. A lot of organizations that I work for didn't have enough pushback, and they tended to fail or make bad decisions because there isn't that counterpoint. And so for those folks that bring in these counterpoints, like those are some of the best heroes being the person to kick off the conversation of like, hey, have we thought about this? Or this might not work out, or there's a risk over here. Those people are really fantastic and I love working with them. I'm one of those people as well, where I will challenge my team, even if I'm on the majority. We will check the boxes and say, hey, Did we think about this? Did we think about that? And do the same thing for the minority as well. And, eventually we get to this point where we're all in alignment and we move forward together.
Thank you, Miranda.
Yeah, hi, this is Miranda Ramsey. Um, I think the disagreement is going to be inevitable, and I would hope that I have the strength when I'm in the minority to step back again, step back, let everyone else carry forward with the structure that I've helped to align with them or help them to align with our goals. But with dealing with pushback or disagreement or conflict in general, I feel often the real thing that builds resentment between people and unresolved conflict is when people don't feel heard. When, it's not really about people not doing what I want. It's about I was expressing what I wanted and people did not hear or understand me. That's what I feel the most upset about. And so that's something that I try to address proactively by making sure that everybody is heard so that even when we have a disagreement, the people who maybe didn't win out in what the conclusion is feel like everybody did hear and respect what they had to say, and that we all attempted to find some common ground as much as we could, even if at the end of the day, what we were left with, they were unhappy with. And I think that in doing that, hopefully in the future, as we have more conversations with more disagreements, the people who maybe lost out at some point or, had to go with something that they disagreed with, feel like it is equitable over time, that because they were heard, their desires were treated fairly every time, and sometimes they got what they wanted too. And yeah, thank you.
Okay, y'all, there's no way that you can answer the next question. We're running out of time, so I don't know what to do about this. It's a big question. So I'm going to ask you, it's a big question to even think about, but I'm going to ask you to do 1 minute, even though that's a ridiculous thing to do, because it's a question that somebody asked and we haven't really used it yet. And so, yeah, okay. We'll just do our best, all right? And if you don't have an answer, it's probably fine. And this is going to be Ali, and then Miranda, and then Laura. Oh, it's a big question. Okay. How do you think we should approach oh, sorry, I didn't put it in. How do you think we should approach the challenge we face as a primarily white leadership and bargaining unit confronting a PCC administration led by a Black woman president and board chair and push back on their leadership without falling into criticism of misogynoir, which means prejudice against Black women and alienating our members? 1 minute each. Like, what's even the question mean? I think you got it. Go for it, Allie. See what you can
Okay.
do.
Um, one of the things as I sort of read that question, growing up as a person of color, like I can sort of make those connections with her on that stuff. Um, that is a tough question. Hmm. As I think about it coming from, hmm, yeah, I don't have a great answer. Okay. Well, as I sort of think about that conversation, I myself sort of look at it as a person of color talking to another person. Um, really challenge. Okay. I don't have a great answer.
That's fair. It's a very hard question, and all of a sudden it's the last minute here.
Yeah.
But Miranda, want to give it a try?
Yeah, this is Miranda Ramsey. I don't blame Ali for not having thought about it very much because it's more something that we have to think about as white people, and it's our responsibility. So my thoughts about that, especially after what happened at the board meeting recently, the uh, we are a very diverse college with a lot of voices and a lot of people representing a lot of minorities, including Black women. So when the board tries to characterize criticisms as being directed by race when we have members of our community who are also Black women speaking out. I feel like it is obviously disingenuous. And so I think that our role as, my role as a white leader would be to make sure that those voices, our diverse voices at PCC, are all being heard, because then it stands for itself that we are acting in good faith. Thank you.
Thank you. Laura, go ahead.
Ali, I'm sorry you had to answer first on such a tough question for 1 minute. Okay, I think there's short-term and long-term approaches to this. In the short term, we need to make sure that when we are holding managers accountable, that we are focusing on their actions and not their personal traits, and reminding people that it is totally fair to criticize directly managers' actions. We are in a tiered structure where they have power over our lives, our livelihoods, our students' lives, over millions and millions and millions of dollars. It is totally fair game to hold their feet to the fire. Over the long term, I think it would help a lot if we could diversify our workforce. There's a reason that academia is a particularly white industry. It's because it is very expensive to get a graduate degree, and then you have to work at a place where you have tons of precarity. Like, it selects for people who come from more higher income white backgrounds. So I think over the long term, let's diversify our own union.
Thank you. I'm going to ask Allie if you want another 30 seconds or you're good to go.
Yeah, I'll take another 30 seconds
All
now
right, go
that
ahead.
I could process it. One of the things, sort of as I thought about as my peers were speaking, I wouldn't let that conversation get that way, and we'd focus on the facts. As I sort of think about me being a minority and their leadership being a minority, like this is something that we could sort of squash and really go back to the facts and the principles of what's working for both organizations. And so I can see from like a political facing and like marketing point of view where this could go wrong. But for me, like I don't think we would go down that conversation being a person of color. Like that would not be a tactic they could use. And it wouldn't be a tactic I would want to use either, but it would be something I'm thinking about and something we could very easily sort of squash and focus on like what is the data and information and the actions that we need to go on.
Okay, thank you very much, all three of you. I'm sure that it's going to make it much harder to vote, which is perfect. And we're going to go straight on to the organizing officers who I stole 3 minutes from. So I don't want to steal any more. Thank you all so much. So let's repin, and we're pinning up our organizing officers, which candidates, which are Allie, Amanda, and Ralph. And each one of you is going to get the 2 minutes that you are allotted to be able to say whatever you want to say. And the order we're going to start in is Allie, Amanda, and Ralph. So, Allie, don't forget to say your name. Allie, take it away.
This is Allie Kelly speaking. I got a lot more involved in our union about a year ago. I was highly motivated by the fact that all these course cuts were happening, our wait lists were getting longer, and having personal struggles with my health insurance and how I was dealing with PCC in that capacity. I felt really great about the fact that I've been in a union since I've been in a union as someone who's worked in the service industry for a very long time. Having this kind of like power and organization and community has been incredibly inspiring. I want to bring my organizing experience into this role. So some projects that I've been working on since joining the union, I was part of the Member Organizing Institute for the American Federation of Teachers, calling members. I took the opportunity to talk to leaders of other unions to figure out how they were organizing their contract action teams, and developed a calling tree structure that I initiated for our rank and file members to be in contact regularly via text with 10 members of their immediate circle. I started off food logistics for the strike line with Cheryl from FCE. I coordinated as a liaison the picket line supplies from the Democratic Socialists to our strike line. I took part in the DSA rally planning. I did the web map for the PCC board planning event. I've helped a small union in Portland get initiated with their union initiation. I've been talking to a student worker about getting more organization going in PCC for non-unionized members. I am the co-chair of the Bad Boss Committee, thinking about the leadership of PCC and how it might be restructured. I just got back from the American Federation of Teachers Political Boot Camp in Las Vegas, and I will be going to Labor Notes next week, next month in Chicago. So figuring out from all of this how to get people excited about the union, how to create a structure that is good in facilitating ideas and getting people talking and doing things together. I really want to be a person who gets people excited about projects and lets them know how to get them done within our union. So, hi.
Thank you. Amanda, you're next.
Hi, I'm Amanda. I'm a writing instructor, a part-time writing instructor at PCC. I started off at Sylvania, but I've ended up spending most of my time at Cascade, and I find that all of our campuses are so unique and our students have different needs, and so do our colleagues at each campus. I started off I've been a writing instructor for about 3 years now, and as of the end of last September, I started our Member Organizing Institute, where I've had the opportunity to learn about organizing, to reach out to our members, to work in solidarity with our sister union of adjunct instructors at PSU. They are currently in mediation, so we are pulling for them to avoid a strike, hopefully. I've been able to participate in our communications committee, and that worked very well in tandem with phone banking because I was able to pull in the feedback that I was getting from people to modify how we're communicating, how we're phrasing things, what types of information we're sharing. And I've been able to work very closely with our student interns, which is a major part of the responsibilities of the organizing officer, to support our student interns throughout this entire year. During the strike, I noticed that we did not have anyone phone banking to folks who were non-members, who were not able to make it to the picket line. And so I saw that need and stepped into that role. We also had people who were working on different mobilization work, but I was able to step in and hold phone banking events to reach out to people about coming up to the picket line. And if they were not able to come out, to still offer them information, to ask, to offer them other opportunities. There were so many part-time faculty members who could not make it to the picket line but wanted to participate. And I'm so proud that I was able to provide opportunities and information to those folks. And I hope to be able to do that as an organizing officer to continue the work with our student interns.
Thank you, Amanda. Ralph, take it away.
This is Ralph Yutz speaking. Pronouns he and they are good. It's just such an honor to be alongside these two wonderful candidates. Ali and Amanda are inspiring organizers, and I'm just proud to be here with them as a rank and file member, and as a member of the contract action team and a full-time steward. Those are my current FFAP roles. I've gotten more and more active in federation organizing over the course of my career at PCC. I joined the union in 2012 as a part-time faculty member at Cascade Math Department. I was away for a year, and then I came back in 2014 when I was lucky to be offered a full-time position at Sylvania campus. My teaching role, I see myself both as a teacher and an organizer and an activist. Mathematics is a harsh environment. It's racist, it's sexist. The tools of mathematics, data analysis, and statistics get used for some of the most horrible crimes that humanity does. And so part of my job is to give students a glimpse that these same tools could be used to fight and struggle for justice for themselves, for their communities, and for people they care about, here, all over Oregon and all over the world. I see union organizing as part of that struggle with you all. We live in an ugly world where people are not afraid to harm each other. We've seen how our bosses are unafraid to gaslight us, to lie to us, to hide the state support and the tuition dollars that Oregonians are providing for this work that we do and then tell us it's impossible to support our work with a living wage. This harms our part-time faculty worse than anyone. Our academic professionals have a difficult time organizing with their schedules. And of course, our full-time faculty are exploited in different ways as workload creep harms us as well. I didn't nominate myself for this role, and I wasn't planning on it. I got the nomination the day before the decision was due, and so I contacted a few friends who've been active and inspiring organizers and leaders in FFAP and asked their opinion. And after brief conversations, I said, well, they basically said, Ralph, I think it's a good time for you to step forward as a candidate. The good news is we're going to have great candidates, and whoever wins, it's going to be a win for the union. So I'm just glad to be here talking about our organizing goals. I'm excited to just learn to be a stronger, better organizer in the
Okay, that's
community.
time. Thank
Oh,
you.
thanks. I didn't
Yeah.
hear the tinkle. Thank you.
Yeah, that's okay. Okay, so now the next question is, and this order here is going to be Amanda, then Ralph, then Ali, and then the question is, what is the most important aspect of being a union leader? Amanda.
See, this is the downside of being an instructor teaching Zoom classes. You're used to never being muted. So one of the most important aspects of being a union leader to me is that it's not about being in charge or informing members about what decisions are being made or about what we're doing. This is our union. This is all of us. And we have collective power, but it's also about individual voices. And those individual voices, that diversity is so incredibly important in our power. We've seen what happens through the board when someone speaks with one voice, and we certainly don't want that for our union. I think the role of a leader in the union is to support and guide others in that collective action rather than being in charge or telling other people what to do. It is my job, just as I did in those phone banking events, to get feedback, to find out where people are at, and to support them in their own power and increasing our power as a union.
Thank you, and sorry I didn't say that was 1 minute. Ralph, go ahead.
Thanks, Bonnie. This is Ralph speaking. The most important aspect of being a union leader, in my eyes, if I think of leadership that I've seen on the pickets, in bargaining, in the Zoom spaces where we organize, in texts that I've received from Ali, texts I've received from Amanda, I think it has to do with building solidarity and having the big goal being responsive, caring, and trusting of our membership as best we can, and giving people the confidence and the space to develop as themselves as leaders. The more of us that are able to participate and work on union projects together and organize, the stronger we get. So that's the aspect I like to see.
Thank you. Ali.
I think the most important part about being a union leader is being more of a union facilitator. So the members of our union are, I can see, coming to the table with great, exciting ideas. And the thing that is needed from leadership to get people going is just like this is how you do this. This is how you get off the ground with this idea. So just providing like the structure and the information and the like initiation, like initiating folks into the group, pulling people in, telling them how to get started so that their ideas become a reality. Yeah.
Thank you. Great. All right. So the next question is also a 1 minuter, and the order is going to be Ralph, then Ali, then Amanda. And the question is, if you had to choose, what is the most pressing issue for our union right now and why?
This is Ralph. Pardon the throat clearing. I think I would choose fighting austerity, pushing back against the so-called fiscal sustainability action plan. Programs are on the chopping block, music and sonic arts, gerontology, and others. courses are not being scheduled because of ridiculous prioritization of like fill rates over our students being able to enroll in the courses they need to succeed, and our college being able to continue to exist as a place to work and grow. It's only in solidarity together that we can push back. The college is set up to keep us apart in our different departments, in different pathways, in different job classes. And I think people who are right now organizing to push back need all of our support. And I would love to be one of the people who can help organize that union-wide support for this important fight.
Thank you. Holly?
I think that the most important thing right now is leadership, understanding and challenging the current leadership. One thing that I was really seeing on the strike line is that we were all learning so much so fast about how the board and the president and the hiring committee and the structure of PCC really works. And now with this momentum and this like knowledge that we've all been building together, there is so much opportunity for us to take this energy and knowledge that we've been building and do something with it. That, and I would just say like very closely related, we're always gearing up for the next contract. So figuring out how leadership works right now, how we can push back in terms of us figuring out who our bosses are and making those decisions, and then gearing up against whoever we're bargaining against, mobilizing our contract action team to get people excited about the next contract.
Thank you, Allie and Amanda. Take us away.
This is Amanda speaking. I think the most pressing issue is focusing on next steps. The strike was just step one. It was not an end stop. We are just getting started to work for a PCC that is community centered, values workers, and prioritizes students again. And I know it's overwhelming. I know so many people rightfully feel overwhelmed, but I'm currently working with the CATs, and I am working to create a plan to reach out to individual members and non-members and let them know here are the actions that we have available, and trying to find what works for each individual person, because there is not a one size fits all. This is not, if you couldn't make it out to the picket line, that did not make you any less committed to our strike. Some folks were writing letters. Some folks were withholding their labor. All of those contributions were equally so important. And so I think right now, with that same attitude, we need to focus on next steps and know that it will look different for every person.
Thank you all. Okay, this is another 1-minuter, and it's going to go Allie, Amanda, and Ralph. And the question is, what do you see as the biggest challenge with organizing here at PCC, and why?
I've gotten the chance to talk to some other like rank and file members and paid organizers of other types of unions, nurses unions, Teamsters, things like that. I think that one thing that's really interesting about academia is that like we can get kind of siloed, in that we are like working in different departments and that we are working at different campuses. There's FFAP, there's FCE, but I think that there is so much opportunity when it comes to this right now because we were just physically all together on the strike line getting to know each other. We've developed those signal group chats. We've like connected with people like on the strike line. So even though the kind of like nature of academia poses an organizing problem that doesn't necessarily exist on workshop floors and hospitals, we have a lot of opportunity to get together and band together right now.
Thank you. And go ahead then, Ralph.
Okay, this is Ralph speaking. I think that the biggest challenge facing organizing for us are the existing divisions between us. Ali just described them. Our physical locations, not just our campuses, but people who work remotely and are far even further afield, having to organize electronically that with them. Our pathways and our programs are broken up and separated in ways that don't make sense to all of us and make it a challenge to connect with one another, even if like one department over in my pathway is facing a similar challenge to the math program, like maybe biology has the same challenge. It's really difficult to organize together, and building solidaristic organizing practices where we are building on one another's work and building on one another's strengths. Same thing with our job classes, full-time, part-time, and academic professionals. All of us face different challenges and structural barriers to organizing, but we can face them together.
Great. So, uh, okay, I'm just changing something really quickly. Uh, uh, okay. And I'm going to put in this question, and I'm gonna I'm gonna
Bonnie,
move.
Bonnie,
Amanda needs to go.
I apologize. This is Amanda speaking. I have not had an opportunity to answer the last question.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
That's okay. You
So
were doing such
sorry.
a wonderful job, Bonnie, and we
Please
also
go ahead.
appreciate your
I'm
work.
sorry.
Thank you.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. This is not an easy thing to facilitate. This is Amanda speaking. The biggest challenge I see is the same thing as our greatest strength as a union, our diversity. We have so many employees who are fully remote. We have part-time faculty and APs. They all have different needs. We're being exploited in slightly different ways. We have different opportunities and abilities to show up to in-person events and on campus. That doesn't make us any less powerful as a union. It doesn't make us any less passionate as individuals. And so one thing that I hope to do as organizing officer is offer a variety of remote opportunities and opportunities to have events in the evening so that people who are working full-time jobs on top of being a part-time faculty member, folks who do not live in Portland or who cannot attend in-person events, are still able to participate and be included and don't have a separation. This union is all of us, and every single one of us is incredibly important. Our diversity is one of our strengths.
Thank you. And again, my apologies. Okay, this next one is going to be 1.5 minutes to try to get everything in here. And I think I messed up on the order, so I apologize for that. But I think that we'll just go with Amanda, Ralph, and Ali. Is that okay? Oh, no, we just did Amanda. So let's go Ralph, Ali, and Amanda. And the question is, what will you do when there is pushback or disagreement among strategies or folks want to handle something or the way folks want to handle something?
This is Ralph. Great question. There are guaranteed to be disagreements and different perspectives on which strategy is the best one to take day to day, whether it's a decision about what's happening on a picket line or a decision about what's going to be in our bargaining platform, or the harder decisions about moving forward on that ladder of escalation toward mediation, impasse, strike authorization, or all the way through to our strike. I think that when there's pushback and disagreement, the crucial thing is our organizing has to make space for that all the way through the process so that people can air their concerns, ask their questions, and have their ideas heard. And then when it comes time to make a move, well, we vote. Whether that's in a small meeting or whether that's as a huge group, small d democracy is still one of the best ways to go forward. And I would support the decisions of my fellow organizers in strategies.
Thank you very much, Ali.
Yeah, I think that this question comes back to facilitation. So, like, as organizing officer, making it really clear how the structure of organizing meetings works, making it clear how the system of democracy works, talk times, ways to vote, ways to speak up, prefacing ongoing meetings with how we plan to handle disagreements when they do come up, setting a standard for respectful conversation and open-minded conversation, giving people tools to hear things that might be uncomfortable for them to hear so that they're developing those skills not in the heat of the moment, but when they have a chance to think about it more theoretically, and just being the person who sets all that up to begin with so that people are like equipped themselves to handle disagreements and things like that. Yeah.
Thank you, Amanda.
In my time in the MOI, I've had the opportunity to work very closely with our current organizing officer, and I've learned so much in how these disagreements are handled. I think it works best, our democracy is strongest when the minority opinion is heard sincerely and earnestly and is truly taken into consideration. That minority opinion might not prevail in that given meeting or that given moment, but we are going to hold on to it. We are going to thank them for it. We are going to acknowledge it. We are going to bring it up in further meetings. And that is how we grow. That is how we factor in the needs of all of our various members. That is how we improve. That is how we don't operate the way that the board operates, because we do listen to dissenting opinions. We do listen to diversity of thought. And I think it's incredibly important to show gratitude and acknowledgement for those diverse thoughts, even if they are not always going to prevail in the moment. That applies with our student interns as well. I've been working with our student interns, and when they get pushback from other students, we talk about how to handle that. In fact, we have a town hall for students tomorrow, and I'm sure there will be lots of opinions in that room, but there will also be lots of communication, information, and connection. And I'm really looking forward to that.
That's everybody, right? Yes. Okay, perfect. Sorry. All right, we're gonna come back around here with the last question, and that's gonna be in the correct order, Ali, Amanda, and Ralph. And we'll give you a minute because I think you can do it in a minute. And that question is, what would you like to say to PCC APs and faculty that aren't union members? Ali.
This is Ali speaking. I had the opportunity to practice this skill in the MOI, calling specifically non-members to get them to become dues-paying members of the union. And I think that one really important thing to bring into that conversation is asking them questions about how work is going for them, digging deeper on like there's not one, I think a one size fits all kind of answer to this question, because it's about what is their work experience like right now? What has it been like talking to their manager? What is their life like? What could they be doing with their time if they weren't experiencing workload creep? And then speaking precisely to those issues and how the union strengthens, helps as a collective solve and organize around those things that affect their actual lives.
Thank you. Amanda?
This is Amanda speaking. What I would say to our colleagues who are not members, there are so many reasons why folks are not members. Some of them don't even realize they're members because unfortunately Workday stopped taking dues out and kicked people out of their membership. So I spent a good old chunk of time last term calling non-members, and many of them, this was brand new information to them that they were not members. So we got them back as members. But folks who are not, there's so many diverse reasons why they're not. They are still with us. They were still on that picket line with us. They were still receiving information on phone calls during phone banking events. I found out that a lot of non-members felt disconnected from the bargaining updates because, of course, they were not receiving our emails as non-members. So I started texting people the link to our online bargaining update page so that non-members could get that information, and specifically calling non-members and making sure that they felt connected and that they felt informed and that they felt powerful. They are just as much of a part of our power as we are. They are no less valuable because they are not members. And when and if they are ready to make that decision to become members, it only adds to our power even more. And in the meantime, I am here to invite them to our events and to give them any information they need.
Thank you. Ralph, you'll pick this up and finish it off?
Thank you. This is Ralph speaking. As a contract action team member these past 4 years, I view our non-dues paying bargaining unit members as part of our membership in some meaningful way. These are people we work alongside daily. These are people who, as Amanda and Ali eloquently described, they all have their own reasons for not being dues paying members, and they're all over the place. So I view my role as, first of all, keeping people in touch with how our organizing is supporting them and their work. Like, it's important they understand that our cost of living adjustments are hard-won union victories, while at the same time, if I am in that organizing and recruiting mode, Ali described it perfectly. The first question is, how is work going for you? What's going well? What are your challenges today? When they speak about challenges that are in our organizing structure and our current organizing goals, that's an invite to join us and to struggle with us in solidarity.
Thank you. Thank you, all of you. These have been two amazingly dynamic and stimulating forums. Thank you for all your time and for being in that space. These are being recorded, and the recordings will be up on the website, and we will be sending them to our members as well. I feel so much like we're going to be in great hands regardless of what the outcomes are. And I'm really proud to be in a union with all of you and everybody that is listening. Thank you all. Good night.